he has to go to at least 2-3 more functions. So I know that. So Mr. Banerjee, please come and welcome Gautam Bhattacharya.
It's a privilege to have amongst us Gautam Bhattacharya, one of our renowned senior journalists. I'm sure, like Debashish da, even Gautam da has got multiple stories of Sunil Gavaskar. So, can we have another chair, please? Here, with. Okay. So Gautam da is going to have a few words from here only. Thank you.
Good evening. A huge dream for Kolkata and Bengal awaits us in the next 20 hours. Because the first ever night test match will be played at the Eden Gardens. And it's a huge achievement in the sense that, obviously such an offer, I'm sure Bombay, Delhi, any other center may have grabbed, but Kolkata is eventually hosting it, which should go down as one of the legendary. The Eden Gardens has an 87-year-old history, but this should go down as one of the top 5. So every Kolkatan has a dream now to see that, eventually at what time the lights go up and we will see the first ever night test match. But when we grew up, we had no dreams. I grew up in the 70s as a teenager, and all we could hear was that Garibi Hatao. There was huge unemployment. There was this license Raj. So even as a teenager, when you opened the newspapers, you heard all sorts of negative news. The Indian cricket team, of course, they played and they lost with regularity. They did not even draw the match. Most of the matches they lost. And for the youngsters, there was no dream, there was no role model. And in comes Sunil Gavaskar in 1971. I still remember that in those days, all the middle-aged people sitting here would perhaps agree with me that the India of the 70s only had 2 role models. Amitabh Bachchan on the silver screen and Sunil Gavaskar with the cricket bat. But sooner or later, you figured out that Mr. Bachchan, irrespective of his acting prowess, what he was doing was unreal. Celluloid is unreal, celluloid is not life. This man, what he was doing with the cricket bat was real. 10,122 runs in the first initial series, 774 runs, and then somehow our life changed. And what was more important was that, of course, you had youngsters or players, someone like Lawrence Rowe, he started off so well, but after that he couldn't keep the momentum. Here is a man who never ever disappointed us. We still remember we used to have fights in the school. Some of us were Vishwanath supporters, some of us were Gavaskar supporters, some of us were supporting others. But the Gavaskar supporters knew that they would win consistently because this man never ever grew tired of scoring hundreds. And he would never ever understand. We only talk about 10,122 runs. But trust me, I hope, ladies and gentlemen, you'll agree with me, he was not just a cricketer. He was a role model for entire India. Whether you believed in cricket or not, he was such a huge monumental presence that in today's India, you would not understand the significance of a Sunil Gavaskar. Very recently, after all these years, I made a small pilgrimage to see the place from where the genius of Sunil Gavaskar took place, which is a place, Chekalwadi. It is not in Chekalwadi, but just begins at Chekalwadi. And I actually went into his house. It's a typical Maharashtrian middle class family. His relatives still live there. I took pictures with them, and I was just thinking mentally, this is a very average Maharashtrian household, the entire household. How could someone coming from here decided to dominate the world and was successful? It is just unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen, that all these years of covering cricket, my friend Devashish Datta would agree, I never ever heard anybody, any cricketer in the world disputing Sunil Gavaskar's brilliance. Nobody. Even now if you go to Imran Khan, he would tell you that, we got just tired of bowling at him. And he said that you don't even know, you don't even understand the brilliance of Gavaskar. And 87, when he decided to retire, I was to take a column from Imran on his Dream One Day 11, and he didn't even know that Mr. Gavaskar has retired. So he said, "Is it true that Sunil has retired?" I said, "Yes." "Why didn't you stop him?" I said, "How can I or the media can stop him? This is his decision." And I still remember he said, "Forget the Dream 11, I will write on Sunil." And the article that he wrote in Sunday, I think Mr. Gavaskar would have read that. It was reproduced later in Midday twice. One article which was published in Sunday got reproduced in Sports Week twice. It was that good. It was full of admiration. And irrespective of whoever you meet on the cricketing circuit, it could be Sir Garfield Sobers, it could be Ian Botham, it could be Vivian Richards, everyone would say, this man. There were people after him, but whenever you ask any cricketer, they say there were no helmets during his time. The wickets remained uncovered. There were 4 fast bowlers. The conditions were very hostile. There were not umpires, there were no neutral umpires in those days. Despite that, this man, headless, practically headless in the sense there was no helmet. And the bats were as ancient as a 5 paisa coin. With that, this man dominated the world and gave us the belief that we Indians can also achieve. I will just conclude my speech by saying I still remember one incident Mr. Gavaskar may have forgotten. He, towards the end of his career, he wanted to play in the middle order. And he had requested the Indian Cricket Board that he wanted to play in the middle order. And there was a tournament in Sharjah where we had 3 teams. Pakistan, led by Imran Khan, West Indies, led by Clive Lloyd, and India, led by Kapil Dev. And Mr. Gavaskar was waiting at the Sharjah Continental lobby. Next day was the first match. Raj Singh Dungapur was possibly one of the selectors, if not the chairman, possibly he was the selector. And Mr. Gavaskar did not know what was his batting order the next day. And he, of course, wanted to go in at 4 because by then he had sort of carried the mantle for such a long time. In comes Raj Singh, informs him that no, you would be opening. And I've still not forgotten that body language. It still gives me goosebumps, ladies and gentlemen, standing here. He just stood like this. "I'm opening?" Rajbhai said, "Yes, you're opening." The man changed, and the record suggested later on, in both matches, he scored 80 plus. That's Sunil Gavaskar for me. And we owe a lot of our youth to him because he actually inspired us, not just as a cricketer. His story, thankfully, has not ended just with the cricket bat. He is a commentator, and not only a commentator, he takes up India's cause all across the world. And you always feel very safe with him. As a youth, one felt very safe with him. Even as a middle-aged man, I feel very safe with him because he carries the tricolour on his shoulders even today. And before I conclude, one more thing I would say that I have a record which Saurabh Ganguly does not have, that I have shared a century partnership with this man in South Africa, and the story, I will take it to my grave. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
I would request the Benduza to please felicitate Gautam. I think Gautam again wants to have say something, one word. So Gautam.
Sorry, this is postscript that I thank my friend Devashish Datta for organizing this event. And yes, it is Messrs Club, but trust me, people all across Kolkata and Bengal are very, very thankful to Messrs Club because it's also a tribute from all of us Kolkatans and all Bengalis to Mr. Gavaskar. Thank you.
To add one more story, about his opening business. At least in 4 news.
Who would like to gift a sari to Sunil Gavaskar, sir's wife and daughter-in-law Swati. So can I please have on stage Kanak? Thank you so much, Kanaklata and Ameline, for the lovely gift. Sunil Goswami here on stage, giving the citation to Mr. Sunil Gavaskar. Thank you, Shillong. Thank you so much. Oh, Shillong, can we please have you on stage once? Sorry, please. Can we please call upon Mr. Obijit Dash to please come up on stage and felicitate Shillong Goswami? Thank you so much.
Can you kindly tell me what should be the weight of the bat? Because cricketers like Tendulkar used a very heavy bat, and he has his reasons that he could hit the ball hard. So what would be your advice? It's a light bat or heavy bat?
I think it should be what the batsman is comfortable with. So it can be a heavy bat, light bat, whatever. A bat where you can play all the shots. That is the weight of the bat. You can play shots, horizontal bat shots, vertical bat shots, where it doesn't put strain on your wrists and your forearms. That should be the weight of the bat.
Can you maintain that right through your career? Did you maintain that?
Well, you can change the weight depending on the pitches. So if the ball is moving a lot, you play with a heavier bat. Then your back lift is restricted. Or if there's a lot of bounce, you play with a lighter bat, because then you can play the cut shot and the pull shot. But basically, I think it's something that you're very comfortable with.
Does anyone change with the course of the innings? That first time I'm holding with the heavier bat, and then as you mentioned, the cut and pull shot should be with a little.
Ideally, you don't want to change too much in an innings. You just want to play with the same sort of weight.
What was your weight of the bat in 1971?
I think it would have been about 2.1, 2.2.
How could you manage that? How could you manage that hitting 774?
Well, ask the West Indies fast bowlers.
Anyway, just tell me one incident that when you were playing, you got a bouncer, and then the spectators from the crowd was shouting, "Oh Mikey, give him one more bouncer." Can you kindly relate the story, please?
Well, Mike, it was in a match in Barbados. In Barbados and the Trinidad crowds are probably the most vocal and also the most humorous. So Michael bowled me a bouncer first ball, and I ducked under it, and the ball was collected high by the wicketkeeper Duja. Now, as a batsman, you're trying to sort of anticipate, trying to read the bowler's mind. So I was trying to anticipate what his next delivery is going to be. Is it going to be a Yorker now, or is it going to be the sucker ball around the off stump where because your balance is on the back foot, you look to play at it and then maybe you get caught behind. But again, the next ball was also a bouncer. And again, Pujan collecting it high up in the air. I said, okay, now he's bowled me 2 bouncers consecutively. Maybe third one is going to be a yorker or the loose outside the off stump delivery. Third ball also was a bouncer. Fourth ball was a bouncer. And then the fifth ball was exactly what I thought, that the ball landing just outside the off stump, tempting it to drive. But because I was mentally sort of getting prepared that I should not be playing that delivery, I left it. And it was collected by Jeffrey Dujon around the midriff, and it was passed to Clive Lloyd. And as it was passed to Clive Lloyd, somebody from the crowd said, "Mikey, bowl him a bouncer." And I'm saying to myself, what were the earlier 4 deliveries? They were bouncers as well.
Yeah.
But the West Indies crowd loves their bouncers, that's why, and they want to see opposition batsmen duck and weave rather than counter attack.
And what did Vivlicha say you when you batted really at number 4 in the Chennai Test match? Because the score was 0 for 2 and Mr. Gavaskar comes into bat.
So he said, no matter what number you bat, the score is still 0.
And we would like to know something about Javed Miadar, your very good friend who is to give you supari. Supari means not the other supari, real supari which Mr. Gavaskar enjoys immediately after the meal. So can you recall one story about Javed Miadar, especially your innings while scoring 96? What was he doing from forward short leg?
I think Javed was just being Javed. So he was trying to get his team to win, trying to get under your skin, trying to upset your concentration. That is what anybody would do. But Javed was pretty good at it, very good at trying to get under your skin.
And then what did he say to you? He was using
I
some.
don't actually remember what he said because
No,
I was in a zone, so I don't remember. I don't even know what he said.
No, but he came up to the after the day's play and he came up to say that मैंने आपको इतना गाली दिया आपने सुना नहीं?
Yeah. So because I was in a zone, I didn't hear a thing really. I mean, I heard him say things, but I didn't think he was saying anything to me. I thought he was saying things to the wicketkeeper, Salim Yusuf.
And you got out at 96. That was the last test innings. Do you regret for that?
Well, I think the regret is definitely that I wasn't able to take India to a win because we lost by only 14 runs. So I don't think the regret is that missing the 100, because if that was the only 100 that I was ever to score in my life, and I'd never got 100 before, then yes, it would have been a regret that I never got 100. But I'd already got some hundreds, so another 100, unless it led to a win, wouldn't mean anything, and it didn't lead to a win. So the disappointment was more about the fact that I got out so close to a win.
Tell us something about the pink ball cricket. How do you like it? And any particular tips towards the batsmen that they should apply?
I never played with the pink ball, so I really don't know. But I think it's an exciting time. Certainly, it's an exciting time. It's something new for Indian cricket. It's been new, pretty new for world cricket as well. There haven't been too many pink ball matches, but this is exciting for India. Playing a pink ball for the first time, and in order to sort of be prepared for that, even I've come in pink today. I've come in pink here. You can see that I've got a matching pink strap, matching pink shoes, matching pink socks. I've come totally prepared for the pink ball this thing, but just for commentary.
Just for commentary. Saurav Ganguly will be very happy to know that another SG is really suited for the pink ball cricket. I know for sure that when Saurav Ganguly was scoring runs, when he was leading the side, you have never criticized him. And today the same boy is at the helm of affairs and the BCCI president. And there was a lot of pressure on you also that why can't you write one single word against him? So could you anticipate that one day he will be ruling Indian cricket?
No, I mean, when he started, no, nobody can say anything about what's in the future. But I wish him all the best. Before him, there was also a former Indian captain with the same initials, and who was BCCI president for about a couple of months, 2 months or something like that. And I think that 2-month period was, 2.5 month period was considered successful. As of now, I think he's got a 10-month period, unless of course things change. So I'm hoping that he'll be 5 times more successful, because 10 months, 2 multiplied by 5 is 10 months.
Yeah.
So 10 months period, I'm hoping that this SG is going to be 5 times more successful than that SG.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know whether you remember or not, Mr. Sunil Gavaskar was the president of BCCI for 2.5 months, and he conducted the IPL without any controversies. So we do remember that, and he wishes Saurabh Ganguly that whatever success Mr. Gavaskar had, our very own Dada will get 5 times more. So give a big hand to Mr. Gavaskar, please. I don't think Saurabh Ganguly can make it, because he has been sending me WhatsApp coming, and last WhatsApp I found that he cannot make it. Even then he said, I will still try. So I was just dragging the function, and my media friends, they are waiting that when the membership would be given. So I will request our secretary and our treasurer to come onto the stage, and I will request Julan Goswami also to come and hand over the club's honorary life membership, please. And may I request Papai also to come and join, please. Acha, where is Brishti? I don't see her. Sudarshana Ganguly, প্লিজ ওরা একটা মালা দেওয়ার কথা ছিল। আমাদের আসলে সৌরভ গাঙ্গুলি আসার পর থেকে না ওটা ব্যাপারটা গুলিয়ে দিয়েছে। হ্যাঁ, এই আসবো করে আমরা কিন্তু উই কুডন্ট কনসেন্ট্রেট। মাই অ্যাপোলজি, আওয়ার অ্যাপোলজি, প্লিজ বিয়ার উইথ ইট ওইটা। হ্যাঁ, আপনি একটা দয়া করে একটা মালা ওকে তো দিতে হবে।
Just like a wall, we couldn't hold the master at all. Not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't hold the master at all. Just like a wall.
Proud moment for us.
একটু ঘোরান, একটু সোজা করুন, দেখা যাচ্ছে না।
Just like a wall, we couldn't hold the master at all. Not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't hold the master at all.
So can you just hold it once more, please? Thank you, sir. ওইখানে
Just like a wall, we couldn't hold the master at all. Not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't hold the master at all. Just like a wall, we couldn't hold the master at all.
এতক্ষণ ধরে গাড়ি
Yes, India
is a powerhouse, but in 71, we're a backwater. We've never won in the West Indies. There comes a young man and gets 774 with an average of 154.2, and thereafter crafts are imaginary in a very different way. Did you ever imagine where you started in 71, where you finished in 87, that you would be the Sunil Gavaskar that we will always revere?
No, not even in my wildest dreams. I just wanted to play cricket. I love the game of cricket. Luckily, if you come from Mumbai, you naturally take up to cricket than other sports. Say in Kolkata, in the 60s and 70s, football was more popular than cricket. In Punjab, it would be hockey. And in Mumbai, it was cricket. So it was easy, natural to take up to cricket. I just wanted to play as much as I could. And the fact that there was, great support from my family, from my parents in particular, and then once I got married, from my wife, is the reason why I was able to sustain a career for 15, 16 years, and then also a lot of luck. So no, I don't think one ever thought that far ahead, no.
And I don't know, because I was late, if Devuda has asked you the World Cup question about the ball, did he?
No, he didn't, no.
He didn't? Okay, then you must hear this anecdote from Sunny Bhai. 1983 will forever rank as that moment when Indian cricket changed forever. And obviously post 1983, the monetary impact, the monetization of the game, the globalization of the game in terms of India becoming the financial powerhouse of world cricket happened. But Sunil Gavaskar was fielding when the ball had rolled out to him, when the umpire had declared the last, and there is Simon Taupel, the celebrated super umpire there. So his colleagues, his predecessors had given the last West Indian batsman out. Mr. Gavaskar picks up the ball, and I don't want to say more because the rest will be told by Sunny Bhai. Sunny Bhai, what happened?
Well, I mean, I was there. My only thought at that point when I went towards the ball was to prevent a leg bye being taken, because at that stage the umpire hadn't raised his finger, and it was umpire Dicky Bird who raised the finger. By the time I reached the ball, the umpire had raised the finger. There was pandemonium. The crowds would get onto the ground then. Now they don't, and there were so many people suddenly on the ground. My only thought, I picked the ball, put it in my pocket, and I must have made the fastest 75 yards sprint. I don't think Usain Bolt would have caught up with me that day, because all I was interested was, keep the ball safe and get to the Indian dressing room.
And even then when you were running, somebody's hand...
Yes, somebody tried to sort of put his hand in my pocket, and then I had to sort of, slap him and, slap his hand away and keep on running. Because if I had stopped, there's no question that the ball would have gone, because they would have been... I think a lot of people got hoisted on the shoulders, cricketers and some of my teammates, in sheer delight from the crowd who had enjoyed watching that, Indian supporters. So yes, I think if I had just stopped even for a few seconds, the ball would have gone. As it is, the dressing room was full of so many people who we had never seen before. Now did we see them after that. Indian supporters who had come in to congratulate, share in the great moment, the most memorable moment as far as I'm concerned in my cricketing career. And then once all of them had gone, then a lot of us found that particularly those who were sitting near the exit of the Lord's dressing room, a lot of them had lost their bats, a lot of them had lost their gloves, because people who had just come in had taken them maybe as souvenirs, but they had taken them. So in fact there were a couple of people who hadn't played in the game, who lost their kit, because the well-wishers just came and took it away.
My addition to that story is some years back, Sunny Bhai and I were at Lord's together, and I happened to come out of the Lord's shop, and there was this gentleman who suddenly approaches me and says, "Do you know Mr. Gavaskar?" I said, "Yes, I do." And he says, "Oh, I've got a very strange connection with Mr. Gavaskar." And I said, "What is that?" He said, "I was that man who he literally held by the arm and ran for 35 meters because I had my hand in his pocket trying to get that ball out." So I was like, you're wonderful. And he said, "Believe me, after about 35 meters, I said, please can you leave my hand, it'll break. So Mr. Gavaskar has that, incredible story at that point in time, 1983 Lord. So I said, why don't you approach him and speak to him about it? He said, no, I still remember the way he held my hand, so I won't. So that's the 1983 story. I've been told that we've got to do 2 felicitations and take a on-stage photo op. So may I please ask you to put your hands together for a super umpire, the best in the world of all time, 5-time ICC Umpire of the Year, to please come on stage, Simon Toffel, to felicitate a very dear friend, someone who leads the broadcast revolution in India in the regional language, is here to ensure that for the first time we have Bangla commentary from the Eden Gardens on a Star Sports network in Bangla, Ashok Nambudri. Simon Toffel to felicitate Ashok Nambudri, please. Thank you, Ashok, and congratulations, Simon. You need to stay on because we need to honor you. Simon's book has just come out. I read the book. Nilanjana and I launched it together. Absolutely spectacular read. Do pick up a copy. Devashish Dotto to please do the honors for Simon Toffel.
Now let me request Devashita to felicitate Boria as well.
One comment before that. Sanjay, when is the last time that you've seen a full house for a test match in India? Because actually we'll have 65-70,000 people, at least for the first 3 days, hoping that the game will last day 4, then even on day 4.
I think the last time was here at Eden Gardens itself. I think 2001 when Australia and India played and that big turnaround in Indian cricket took place. That was the last time I think I've seen a full house.
Okay, and our memory and our story about that, exactly that test match after India had won in 2001. How many of you remember, and I say this because we have a celebrated umpire on stage, how many of you remember who was the umpire in that particular match? Okay, umpire S.K. Bansal. S.K. Bansal was going back to his hotel and his driver entered a one-way street. Okay, so the traffic constable stopped umpire Bansal and his driver understandably was slightly afraid, apprehensive, thinking that his license would be taken away. So he asked umpire Bansal, sir, can you please step out and speak to the traffic constable and help me? So umpire Bansal steps out of the car and the traffic constable looks at umpire Bansal and is like, okay. So finally he says, are you the umpire who gave Glenn McGrath out? And he said, yes. He said, sir, for you tonight there is no one-way traffic in Calcutta, please go. So this is the kind of madness that this city is all about, which is why everything tonight is pink. Mr. Gavaskar said pink, Devashishda will give him his tie as well. So he will be decked in pink, the city is decked in pink. We will have a carnival, ladies and gentlemen. The pink ball test is a festival of cricket, and because we have presence of these people, Mr. Gavaskar, Simon and a host of others who are all coming to grace the occasion over the next 3 days. So let's put our best foot forward as Kolkatans, as Bengalis, and try and make a statement that Test cricket, not simply cricket, Test cricket in India is well and truly alive. And let's try and make this pink ball test an annual affair in this country.
Thank you so much, Boria. Now I will request Devashita to kindly felicitate Boria Mazumdar. Thank you, Mr. Toffel, for being with us. Thank you, Mr. Ashok, for being with us. Thank you, Boria, for being with us. So we have the last round of gifts for you. So if you can please be there. Can I please call upon the treasurer of Measurers Club, Mr. Jyotirmoy.
Namaskar, namaste, good evening, thank you very much. Mr. President, members of the Executive Committee, members, ladies and gentlemen, only in India. I am honoured to be here with you this evening. Some of you of a certain age may remember a movie, I think it's about 25 years old now. It's called Wayne's World, and our eponymous hero Wayne is a would-be rock star. And he meets Alice Cooper, his great hero, and he goes, "I am not worthy. Sunil Bhai, I am not worthy." I truly am not worthy, but I'm hugely privileged to be here. I had a small article published in the Times of India this morning, and the journalist put the headline on it that cricket builds bridges between nations. It does. Sport as a whole does. Cricket particularly does. But cricket is also a time machine. Now, natural scientists believe that time travel will be impossible. Time travel is possible. We've already done it on the screen behind us, taking us back to the Caribbean in the early 1970s. And I want to tell you about my own little bit of time travel. And Sunil Bhai, again, it's 1971. It's that year that won't go away, but this time it's the Indian Tour of England. Put your hands up, anyone in the audience who can remember that tour? Not many, right. Well, there's a little history lesson for you. Well, probably not the greatest ever England side, but it wasn't a bad side. Undefeated in 26 test matches going into that 3-match series against India. Off the back of a rather lucky 1-0 home series win against Pakistan. Why is it special for me? Young lad, it is the first test series I can remember. Now probably everyone here will have that first test series they can remember. And for me this was incredibly magical. It wasn't just a test series, this was India. This was something very different. This was a touring party who it appeared were going to play with 3 specialist spinners. No one else would do that. Chandrasekhar, Venkatravagan, names that we struggled with at the time. Bishan Bailey, which was much easier to say, but Bishan wore a patka, and that was incredibly exotic for us. And the batting. Wadekar, Vishwanath, and a young S.M. Gavaskar. Little did we know or suspect, sir, that you were to become Mr. India. For a whole generation of people in my country, you personified your country during 2 decades, and you did it with the most immense dignity. India could not have asked for a better role model. As a sportsman, as an athlete, as a representative of the country, you, sir, could have been and could still be a diplomat for your country. So let's talk about the cricket.
Now when he wears it, and can I call the secretary, Mr. Rian Biswas, to please come on stage? I think Mr. Biswas is not there with us. Can I call upon Ms. Vaishali Ray from Techno India Group and Ms. Tapasri Gupta from Techno India Group to please come on stage and give a gift to Mr. Sunil Gavaskar. Ms. Vaishali Ray, Ms. Tapasri Gupta. I request them to hand over the jackets to Mr. Sunil Gavaskar.
Just like a wall, we couldn't hold Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't hold Gavaskar at all. It was Gavaskar, the real master. Just like a wall, we couldn't hold Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't hold Gavaskar at all. Just like a wall, we couldn't hold Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't hold Gavaskar at all.
Our Secretary, Mr. Biswas, is here. I will request him to please hand over some tea bags to Mr. Sunil Gavaskar. Now we are almost at the end of the function. Just a few days back, Mr. Sunil Gavaskar has completed his 70th birthday on 10th of July. At that time, we couldn't celebrate because he was in London at that time, I suppose, and what I hear from his near friends, he had given a very big party there in London. The hotel's name, Devashita told me, but I somehow don't remember at present. So we would like to celebrate Mr. Gavaskar's birthday once again here on Measurers Club here. We have a special cake made for Mr. Gavaskar here. And we have a Darjeeling tea to be gifted by Director of Thomas Voyages, Mr. Abhijit Das. I would request Mr. Abhijit Das to please give the tea package to Mr. Sunil Gavaskar. This is from Mr. Surajit Bakshi. We have a special cake made for Mr. Sunil Gavaskar so that he can celebrate his birthday once again.
সামনে আসো দেখো সামনে আসো পাবে না
ও ভাই এখান থেকে কিন্তু উপর দিয়ে চলে আসছে হয়ে যাবে
आइडिया मिलने के बाद आइडिया कैन चेंज थोड़ा फॉर्म में भेज देते हैं थोड़ा फॉर्म में
एक्चुअली আপনি গার্ড হয়ে যাবে আপনি দেখুন এখানে গার্ড হয়ে যাবে
ও আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে হ্যালো আমার প্রচার মাধ্যমের প্রতিনিধিদের অনুরোধ করবো প্লিজ আপনারা তো বুঝতেই পারছেন একটু ডিসঅর্গানাইজ হয়ে যাচ্ছে একটু কাইন্ডলি যদি অ্যাডজাস্ট করে নেন প্লিজ ছবি ছাপা হবে একটা কিন্তু কয়েক লক্ষ ফটোগ্রাফ কিন্তু আমাদের বন্ধু বান্ধবরা নেন এবং চাওয়ার সময় পাওয়া যায় না। রনি রায় অবশ্য একটা ছবি প্রদর্শনী করেছেন। আমি দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে হারভেস্ট ভয়েজের পক্ষ থেকে একটা ছোট উপহার আবারও সুনীল গভাস্কারের হাতে তুলে দেওয়া হচ্ছে এবং দিচ্ছেন এবারের সঞ্চালক শ্রী ব্যানার্জি, তন্ময় ব্যানার্জি।
It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't hold the master at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't hold the master at all. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't hold the master at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't hold the master at all.
Mr. Salman Taufel wants to present a book which he has recently written and been released in Kolkata. So may I request Salman Taufel to come down into the stage and please. Follow.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think you all enjoyed this evening today. It was a privilege